Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing well. If you haven't yet subscribed, please make sure that you click that subscribe button. Got lots more videos planned for the rest of the year. But in today's video, I'm going to be doing a full comparison video between these two. Now, on the right, we've got my brand new LCD models Pagani Zonda HP Barchetta, which if you haven't yet checked out my full in-depth review on the model, please go and check it out. I'll leave a link in the description for that. Great model, stunning detail, and it's a fully opening die-cast model car. And on the left, we have its resin counterpart. This is from BBR Models, exactly the same brand as the LCD. So this is a HP Barchetta, but this is a fully resin model. And I'm going to be doing a comparison video between the resin and the die-cast version, because at first glance, there are several differences between these two models, which surprised me at first. But I'm going to be doing a very detailed video about these two models and the differences between them. But before we get into the video, I think it's an important topic to mention price. Now, it does vary because these models aren't brand new. I picked up the BBR version probably about 4 years ago now. So obviously prices do change if you're looking to buy one on the second-hand market on eBay. But I think I paid at the time around £350 altogether for the BBR model. I pretty much paid around £300 for the LCD die-cast version. So I think at price point level, they are pretty much the same today. I'm not too sure. I think the BBR version would be valued slightly more than the LCD just because of its rarity, which we'll come on to. So with the BBR model, you do get a kind of certificate of authenticity. Just saying that model is number 22 out of 100 pieces in that specification. Now, BBR did release loads of different Zonda Barchettas in different colours, and I still think you can probably buy some on their website. But in terms of the blue and black carbon fibre version, I think they're pretty much sold out on the BBR website. Whereas the LCD, I don't think it's limited to any specific number. I think they are pretty much mass produced, but they are quite rare and they're quite hard to buy, especially here in the UK. There's not many on eBay. There's probably about 2 or 3 listed on eBay, and they're definitely listed for more than what I paid for the for this one. So even though they're not limited by number, they're still quite hard and quite rare to get hold of. But nevertheless, let's crack on with the review. Let's start off at the front end of the model, where there are several differences between these two models. So let's start off with the BBR version. Now, BBR always do a stunning job with their exterior detail. Now, if I just zoom in there for you guys to see that detail, the carbon fiber work is excellent. The blue deep paint work is very, very good. But my first notice of any differences are here. So if you look around the air intakes right at the front end of the model, you can see that they've left the rivets or the bolts exposed in silver, which is a really nice contrast against the blue carbon fiber. And also you can see the carbon fiber underneath there as well, where the fans are. So BBR have gone to some length to make that area very, very detailed by exposing the rivets in silver and putting the carbon fiber fans just underneath that area too. So they've done a really good job there. Whereas if we just look over on the LCD model, I've just noticed now that you can see that the rivets aren't that exposed. You know, they haven't really done as good of a job as BBR. They're not that prominent, and which I think they should be a little bit more prominent, or maybe finished in black just to make it pop against the white metallic white paintwork. And also, if we look in the air vents, they're hollow. So there's nothing there. So I could pretty much put my opening tool right the way through and there's nothing there. Where I think, whereas on the BBR version, they've put something in there, whether it's a carbon fiber panel or a fan, there is more detail below that surface, which is slightly disappointing from LCD about that. But I think overall, their whole front end of the model is done very well. Something very small, which I also noticed, is the windscreen wiper. So if we look at LCD's version, it's really good. I think, I know it's something very, very small, but it looks very realistic, and I think they've done great details in there in terms of having that silver touch there on the windscreen wiper, and also on the windscreen they've also got a signature there from, I believe, Horatio himself. So really nice small touches there. Whereas if we look on the BBR version, the windscreen wiper just looks so thin, looks totally unrealistic, and it looks enormous for the windscreen. So it looks like, you know, if that was actually swiping across, it would go over and above the windscreen. Not a massive fan of that, and there's no signature on the top of the windscreen. Again, small differences between the models, which you wouldn't notice at first glance unless you've got both of them right in front of you. So I'm not too sure which one is accurate. I'm probably guessing the LCD version is accurate, because I have seen that signature on a real HP Barchetta. But again, it's just those small differences that make a difference in terms of having those two models. Now, if we just zoom out of here, I think overall the whole front end though are pretty much identical. I think BBR have done a slightly better job in terms of their carbon fiber finish. It just looks a bit more glossier, it pops a bit more than the LCD version. But I think overall both models in terms of their front end detail are very good. But let's spin the models around and have a closer look at the side and interior detail. So if we just spin both of these models around, let's just go over the wheel and the tyre detail here. BBR, you know, as always, have done a very good job replicating the detail here. Very nice detail. Even they've included the Pagani embossed rim, so you can see the Pagani badge there and the Pagani badge there. I love the tyre writing as well. You can clearly see the Pirelli P0 tyres. The wheels are done very nicely with that gold finish. Again, the calipers, the discs are all finished very realistically, and you've even got the tyre valve cap there as well. So it's pretty much neck and neck with LCD. I mean, I can't give it to either one of these two models. Maybe if I had to pick a better one, I'd probably edge it with LCD. I just think their details here are slightly clearer. The wheels slightly pop more with the brighter gold that they use compared to the BBR version. But again, you can pretty much see all the detail here. The tyre writing's excellent. They've made a bit more of a prominence with the tyre valve cap. But again, you've got the blue centre caps with the blue calipers that tie in very nicely. And I think overall, the wheels just pop a little bit more compared to the BBR version. And obviously, these wheels spin and they steer as well, which you've got to take into consideration. Whereas the BBR versions are totally stationary. So, you know, nothing opens up, nothing moves. It's pretty much just a piece like that. But I think overall the Zonda is such a stunning car to look at, to have in your cabinet. I mean, it does look absolutely epic. But if we come round to the doors, now again with BBR's version here, everything's very neat, very tidy, as you would expect. The shut lines are done very well. They've even included a bit of detail here with the leather straps that hold down the front compartment and hold down the rear engine clamshell. They haven't done them as well as the LCD version, but they have included that as best they can for a resin model car, which for me is still very good. You've got a very clear, again, Pagani badge right on the driver's side door, and you've got the key lock as well, which is done very nicely. Their carbon fiber work is absolutely, you know, amazing. It's flawless. You can see that on the camera. The weave is absolutely second to none. And then you've got a really nice Horatio Pagani sticker right on the edge there. Whereas we come over with the LCD version, again, it's done very nicely. I think overall they haven't really missed a beat. Their carbon fiber work isn't as glossy as the BBR version. It's slightly more dull, but again, you can still see that weave. It still looks very realistic. If you have it in your cabinet, you're still clearly going to see it. They've got a equally as good Horatio Pagani sticker on the side, and I do love the leather straps, which we'll come on to later on in the comparison video too. So again, blue leather straps, which matches all the blue touches around the model car, but very realistic. Again, the Pagani badge on the driver door isn't as good as the BBR version, but it's okay. I probably would have liked to see a bit more detail there given the price of the model, but nevertheless, I still think LCD have done a pretty good job with the side end of the model. Whereas we come over to the rear wheel design, Now on the Barchettas, you've got a really unique design on the wheels, which there is a bit of detail here that is not on the BBR version. So if we zoom in here, you can see the carbon fiber always continues around the rear wheels, and you can you can just about see those rivets that hold that carbon fiber piece to the bodywork. You've got the rivet there, the silver touches there and there. They're not as prominent as the BBR version, which again I still think is slightly edging it in terms of exterior detail. Whereas I zoom over here, you can see that carbon fiber work just looks absolutely amazing, and you can clearly see those rivets, those silver touches, a lot more clearer than the LCD version. But I think nevertheless they both look absolutely, amazing. But let's zoom out of here, and we'll have a look at some of the exterior detail at the rear of the models, where there's a lot of detail here because both of these models have enormous spoilers and rear diffusers, almost like a race car. So if we bring the BBR version back around again, and we'll do a comparison of the rear of the models. Now let's start off with the BBR version. Now they're both pretty much identical here. There's some small changes between the models, but if we just zoom in here, you can see the length of this diffuser here. It's almost longer than the spoiler. The spoiler is massive as well, all finished in gloss carbon fiber. The circular exhaust is done very nicely. With the grills, you've got the Pagani badge with the rear lights as well. I think overall it's exceptional. I love the Pagani touch on the number plate too, and then you've got the Zonda HP Barchetta there as well. With the rear lights, there are some differences here. They're pretty much all finished in the same color, whereas if we just pan over to the LCD version, you can clearly make out which one's which. So you've got your reverse lights, your brake lights. They just look a bit more detailed, a bit more realistic compared to the just flat finish of the BBR version. Whereas on the LCD version, they haven't opted for the Pagani plate. They've just put Zonda there, but it's very, very small. You can just about see it. And they've pretty much got the identical diffuser as the BBR version, whereas it's not finished in terms of the glossy carbon fiber as the BBR version, but it still looks very, very good. Again, you've pretty much got a identical exhaust as the BBR, and everything else is very, very similar to that BBR version too. What I would actually point out is, I think it's an important fact given that this is a resin model car. What I love about BBR is that even though you can't open up the engine bay, you can still see the parts of the engine through the grills at the rear of the model. So they haven't really just neglected the engine. You can still see some components there in terms of those blue suspension springs, and they still do a very, very good job with what you can see. Whereas on the LCD version, obviously you can open up that whole rear engine clamshell and you can have a look at the detail there as well, which we'll get onto in a moment. But let's have a closer look at the interior, because this is where it gets slightly interesting. I think LCD here have really outdone themselves in terms of their interior detail compared with the BBR version. So let's start off with the LCD and then we'll swing over to the BBR version. Everything's done very, very nicely here. Like I said in the in-depth review, I think LCD haven't really missed a beat with the interior on the model. And I think for convertible cars, you've really got to get that interior level perfection. I love all the blue touches. I love all the wooden touches around the steering wheel, around the gear knob, around the handbrake. I think it looks amazing. I love all the blue touches in terms of the leather straps, the door handles, the steering wheel, the seats. It's all done very, very well. And I just think that overall it looks so realistic. Whereas on the BBR version, it does look very, very good. Whereas I just think they could have done slightly more detail in some places. Whereas that blue theme, you can't really see the door handles on the BBR version. It's still very, very good, don't get me wrong. I just think LCD have slightly edged it over the BBR version too. But I still think, it's pretty much very, very close between these two models. Maybe in terms of exterior finish alone, I'd have to say BBR have edged it over LCD. but it depends on what you want from a model car, because the LCD version is an exceptional model, and when it can do this, when you can pretty much open every single piece on this model car, it depends on what you're looking for from a model. If you want the resin piece, it's still a great car to get to add to your collection, but if you want a fully opening die-cast model car for a Zonda HP Barchetta, then I really do think this model is probably the best one for you guys to get. Whereas also on the passenger side of the model, the blue wheels. Now this again is a very unique touch for an LCD model or a Zonda in general. If we look here, you can see the different color wheels on the passenger side compared to the driver side. Now they're blue on the passenger side and gold on the driver side, whereas we also spin round to the BBR version. You can clearly see that the wheels are done again in a different color. I still think the wheels again are very important to the model car. They both look great. If I had to edge it, I'd probably give it to BBR on this one, just because I think the exterior of this model is amazing. But let me know in the comments below. I mean, I think if I had to consider everything at the moment, I think today, if you're looking for a Zonda HP Barchetta, I think the best model you can get is the LCD version. I think it is a great model to get, and when it can do this, and you can show all that detail, I think it's definitely something that you need to consider. Whereas 3-4 years ago, when I bought this model, when LCD wasn't even around, this was definitely one of the best models you can get. And I think it still is. I think exterior wise it's better than the LCD, but I think once you take into consideration the detail that goes underneath the skin of the LCD model, I still think the LCD just edges it over BBR. So that's my verdict. They're both exceptional models, some of the best Zonda models you can get. If I had to give it, I'll give it to LCD on this occasion. But let me know in the comments below. Very keen to hear from everyone. Let me know what you guys think of the models or the comparison, which one you would take. Very keen to hear from everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed the comparison video, and I'll see you guys very soon for lots more videos to come. Take care. Bye.